You can use it as a reference later on when you are studying. Let me type that your professor know. We will wait for a couple minutes. I presume some of your teammates are still joining. Um, and then we will start. It's about 12:06 on my clock. So we will start at 12:0. We will start at 12:10. We'll start at 4 minutes. So your friends can join. Today's session will be different from what we covered previously. Previously, we made a deep dive into AI supply chain and different aspects of supply chain. What are the different bottlenecks? Where can students work on, improve? Where do they start? So on and so forth. Today's more Today's gonna be hands-on. It's more about trying to build something. Uh, Embedded LLM, one of the things that we do for community is we give free inferencing. So you can get access to LLM models, open source model, Quen, and other models which are the top line models right now for open source, and create some AI use cases, AI projects. So previously we went into AI supply chain more on from a business point of view. So today we'll go a bit more technical on how do we actually go about and create these solutions, these software. We are recording this session so you can later on view it at your own pace and at your own time and then work from it. So we'll wait a couple minutes for maybe some of your friends to join and we'll start. In the meantime, because some of your friends asked me for contact last time, so I'll put in my uh, profile here for those whoever would like to connect can also connect. So yeah, we'll start in a couple of minutes. Okay, so yeah, let's begin. So what are the things that we'll be covering today? We'll be looking into GemAI Base, which is one of our open source projects that we have done for public to use and to play around with. We will then create a simple workflow on some of the use cases. I will then show you guys, show you some of the other use cases that we have done, which you can get inspired from. And then towards the end of the session, we'll give you an assignment for you to work on and to submit. I understand that you are at the final few weeks of your semester, so it will not be something that is very extensive. So being said that, I will share my screen and we can start. Today's lecture will be about, I think, an hour 15, because we are recording it, so you can listen at your own pace, and then I can also move a bit faster throughout the session. So let me know if you guys can share my screen. So the first thing that you can do is um, log on to GemAI Base. So I'll copy this and paste it on your chat. Okay, I'll explain a bit more in a second. So just create an account over here. It's for free for students, so you don't have to pay anything. You can just start for free and play around with it. When you create an account, it will ask you for your email address or something. The best thing to do is just use your GitHub. So you can use your GitHub or you can use your Google and sign in. Since I'm already, I already have an account, I do not have to go through the process. As you're signing in, it will ask you for some organizational name. So you can give any name you like. So give any name for your organization. Organization. Okay, so you can give any name for your organization and you will see a screen that looks something like this. My screen is filled with stuff, but your screen should be empty. What you're looking here is the UI, is the front end of the back end. So this is the front end of the back end where we create different use cases, create different projects. I'll give you guys a couple minutes to quickly create a project to quickly create your account. So I'll give you guys a couple of minutes. We'll go a little bit slow so that everybody is able to follow along. If at any point I'm moving too quickly, or if at any point you are stuck, either you can drop a message here, or you can listen to the recording later on, or you can just like ping me and yeah, just you can ask me directly. Okay. I'll give a minute for people to make an account. Okay, so I presume that some of you have made your account. So let me log in from the other side. So I'll quickly go through some of the UI and what you're seeing on this UI before we are building a project. So let me open up my notepad and explain how do we create these projects. Okay, so when we are creating AI projects, right? In the industry, how does the whole process begin? In the industry, when we create any AI project, we first begin with ideation stage. Now, at this ideation stage, it is not expected to have a full-blown solution that works end to end, has a good aesthetic UI, and the backend works seamlessly. It is not expected and none of this is expected. At the ideation stage, all that enterprise clients are looking for is, does the back end work, right? Does the back end supposed to do what it's supposed to do? The speed does not matter. Speed slash latency does not matter at this stage. Okay. Once this is done, the second thing that enterprise look for is what is the cost of this project slash idea. Okay, to figure out how much budgeting they will require, to figure out what do they need from their end to make this thing work, right? So once the back end works, once the front end is working, when both sides are working, they look at the cost. If costing is okay, then the next step is beyond ideation. So then we go and create a prototype version. Now, this prototype version is exactly where GemAI Base comes in. So using GemAI Base, we can complete both ideation stage and we can also complete prototype stage. So you can complete these two stages using GemAI Base by simply like creating drag and drop and just like playing around with it. We have had multiple students within hackathons using it. We have had multiple students going on a global level trying to create some of the use cases, and many of them have actually got employments, internships at different companies. So this is something that you can also use to get your journey started as well. Within prototyping state, what are the steps that are done? The first thing they do during prototype stage is they try to simulate production environment. So they try to simulate production environment with limited resources. CSO resource. So, for example, imagine if we are trying to create a chatbot for industrial, let's say we are trying to create a chatbot for Maybank. Now, Maybank has, I don't know, millions of users within Malaysia. Resources required would be many, many like clusters of GPUs to get it started. However, because it is in prototyping stage, I mean, it's unreasonable to give them access to all these GPUs to do something. Instead, they'll give them maybe access to a few H200 or a few H100 or maybe a few AMD GPUs, right? So they'll give them access to few GPUs to simulate the production environment with limited resources and sample size of testers. Now, this could be a focused group, focus FOU. This could be a focused group slash real selected users, or it could also be internal users. So this could be different players depending upon what they're trying to accomplish to test out and see whether this thing works. Once this simulation is done and testers are tried, then they do like debugging slash fixing slash modification slash stress testing. So all of these things are done to like see and improve the system and see if everything works. Okay. Once these two are done, then we move on to production level pro. Then we move on to like scaling. So then you do like production, real time scaling and operations. Okay, then you do like hiring because it's gonna be national level or it's gonna be like a bit larger scale. So they have to like hire different people, see if it works, and of course monitoring, monitoring and auditing, etc. And then you go from so on and so forth. So for students at this stage, because you're in year one, year two, it is really, really, really important to understand different stages of any product creation so that when you are creating your use case, when you are creating your demos, either today for this lecture or even for in your future hackathons or your future events, you will be able to articulate, correctly to your judges exactly what you are doing. Is this something that is ideation? Is this something that is prototype? Is this something which is ready for production? We too often see students come up to us with projects, with ideas. Sometimes they overcook it. What do I mean by that is they'll have a really fancy UI, very fancy glitters and text on their UI, but in the back end, it doesn't make any sense. In the back end, the system that they're using, the architecture that they're implementing does not make any sense. On the other hand, we would see students that have a really good backend architecture for the solution, but their front end does not work at all. Or sometimes they don't even have a front end. They'll just send their GitHub repo and be like, hey, this is how the architecture looks like. And are you willing to like, is this something that's good enough for my portfolio project, etc. Right. So you have like both ends of the spectrum. An ideal student, what they do is they use GemAI base or they use other solutions out there to create a simple prototype. They create a simple front end, and most importantly, they have a story. They have a story, interesting story. Now, sometimes you will see people describe this as problem statement, but we generally like frown away from this statement because when you say a problem statement, we imply that there is a problem, right? So imagine someone comes up to me and says, "Oh, there's a problem in Malaysia on flooding, like flooding in Shah Alam, flooding in Kelang Valley every year is a problem, and therefore this solution can solve this issue." But when you think about it carefully, you are assuming that there is a problem. What if there is no problem, right? Because although it is flooding every year, who is when someone says there's a problem, it's like they are able to identify exactly where the problem is, which if you were able to do so, we would be able to solve the problem, the reality for most enterprise large scale project is that it is very difficult to identify a single point of failure. It's very difficult to identify it because of this specific issue. We're having this problem. And solving that again becomes it's not that easy. But if you present a good story, so this idea can do this thing, and it can, if we scale it up, can do XYZ things, you're allowing the audience to fill in to their psyche on their own. So when someone comes up to me and says, "Oh, I've made this solution on inferencing, it can do these things," my brain would naturally think about all the issues I am facing and naturally ask questions. Hey, can you do this for us because you're having this problem? So it paints a much better, broader picture on how you want to go about like implementing this. So presenting an interesting story, having a interesting idea, creating a prototype from it, and then scaling is how we actually go about product creation. Of course, real product creation has many other nuanced steps, but we'll not be going into that. I just wanted to give you a quick precursor on how product creation is done in the industry. So, being said that, let's move and let's like create some really quick solutions that you can work and implement for your assignment. Okay. So for those who have made an account, for those who are just joining, please, I've sent the link in this chat for you to create an account. Once you have done that, you will see something like this, which is blank for you. So we can go about creating a project. So let's not join. Let's create a new project. Let's call this project name machine learning course. So you can call it anything you would like. So where is it? So we have this project over here. Within the project, you see that there are different tabs. All these different tabs allow for different level of customization, allow for different level of allow different level of customization and allow different level of like control as you go about implementing your project. With GemAI base, because it's open source, and another thing about GemAI base is that you can actually deploy it into production. There are many tools out there which focus on workflow design, but when you put it onto production, it completely fails because it's not designed for production. So this is something that we try to address. So we have an overview of your project, your date creation, last day creation, project deletion. There's something called as an action table. Over here, we create our projects. There's a knowledge table. Knowledge table is a knowledge bank if we are trying to do what is called as RAG. For those who don't know, so knowledge table is used for RAG. For those who don't know, maybe you can look into what RAG means. It stands for Retrieval Augmented Reality. It is one of the primary methods that is used right now in the industry to try to try to try to try to like refer to a knowledge bank. This could be cloud storage, this could be on-premise storage, this could be a mixture, a hybrid, and then to refer from it and do something. Chat tables are typical chat agents, so you can create a typical chat agent that you can use to create a chatbot. And then of course you got members here. Of course there's only one member here, but you can actually add more members to your project. So you can have multiple people working together towards a project. We'll first begin by creating a simple chat table, a simple chat agent. So you see on your top right, you have these two tools. You can create on this plus sign, you can create a chat ID, let's call it machine learning something, and you can select bunch of models that are available for you. Now for students for free, I think there are limited models, but if I remember correctly, uh, you should have some free models. Anyway, you know what? Actually, let me just go back and use my free account. I believe this is my free account. So let me see if this works. So UML. No, this also also not free. Okay. So I believe for free account we have Quen 3. Qwen3 and Qwen3 VL both are available for free. For those who are listening on chat, please let me know what are the models which are available for you. I believe Qwen3 is available. So anyway, let's just try with Qwen3. You can add it, and now you see you have a chat agent. So once I click on this chat agent, you will see something like this. We have some user input. Let's say you have hi, and you have some output, right? How can I assist you? Now, this is a very simplistic back end of a chat table using Qwen as LLM. For those who do not know, you can look it up. Qwen open source, Qwen 3.7 benchmark. It's actually one of the most highly rated models out there. So I'm looking at this benchmark. Let's see. Open this up in a new tab. So okay, so you can see here, Qwen is actually on par with a lot of other models, even DeepSeek models. So as far as I know, Qwen and DeepSeek are the frontier of open source, open weight models, right, in the market. So you can have access to this and you can then use it to create your own projects. So hi, how are you doing? Now, obviously, when you're creating your project, when you're creating your chatbot, you have to make it even more complex, or you have to make it more interesting. So we can do that by changing the settings of our AI. So on your top right, there's these three dots. These three dots, okay, will lead you to your settings page, and then like play around with your settings. So within the settings, let me repeat again, these three dots on your top right, click on these three dots. You can rename, you can delete, you can regenerate, or you can open settings. We can open settings here, and you see that there are a bunch of hyperparameters that can be tuned, bunch of hyperparameters that we can work with. Okay, so the first thing is prompt. You have your custom prompt, and then you have your system prompt. For those who are new to the industry, please understand the difference. Try to understand the difference between system prompt and custom prompt. So system prompts is how you want the LLM to behave, like overall, what's going to be the theme of the LLM. And a custom prompt is what would you like the LLM to do specifically. Over here, you can see that this simple chatbot is answering to user query. So you have this user query comes in, and based on system prompt, it tries to give a helpful answer. Now let's try to change this. Let's see if we can play around with this more. Let's see, always give non-helpful answer, just to show you how the behavior changes. And we can reduce the max token to 500. What does max token signify? Within LLM, there's this terminology, max tokens, like in input token, output token. Input token and output token is a reference to how many words or how many tokens, how many units does it take in, and how many units does it give out. Try to think about LLMs as human being. Imagine you are dealing with a team of group of people, and as a manager, you give them an instruction. Let's say the instruction is something like you are only allowed to answer in 5 sentences or less, which means every time we ask them a question, they will answer within 5 sentences or less. When it comes to LLMs, the way that they work is instead of words, they use something called as tokens. And tokens, one token could be something as small as a comma, or one token could be something as large as a word, entire word. So let's say we change it to give me a non-helpful answer. We don't change anything. Temperature and top P are other hyperparameters that you can tune. Temperature and top P in simple English would refer to the creativity of models. The higher the temperature, the higher the top P, the more creative the models generally are. So yeah, let's update it and let's try something. Hey, how are you? Okay. I'm just a computer program, so I don't have feeling, but thanks for asking. How can I help you? So you can notice here that the output instantly changes. The output changes because we're asking the LLM to not be helpful. So let's go back again to the settings. Now, for what we are doing at present, we are not the LLM simply answers user query. But what if we want to put some guardrails? Let's put some guardrails. GUAR guardrails. Uh, so make sure not to give any um information about people. Okay, and any people, um, no matter how much you are asked about it. Okay, so I'm just gonna give a simple guardrail. So meaning every time a user will ask a question, LLMs will filter whether this is a whether this is something that is talking about people or not. If it's talking about people, it will not give any answer. So let's try by asking, tell me about Elon Musk. Let's try something. Okay, so you can see here, it will instantly respond, I'm sorry, but I can't provide you about individuals. Let me know if you need something else. This is because we have put in some guardrails. So imagine if we remove this guardrail. I'm going to remove this guardrail, update it again, and ask the same question. Tell me about Elon Musk. So you can see again, I can't provide information. If you like something else, let me know. What this means is that the guardrail is not properly set in. So we can keep playing around with this until you get the right answer. So maybe we can change the system prompt by you are a helpful assistant. This is helpful educational bot. Okay, so we update this. We ask the same question. Let's see what happens. All right. Okay, it's giving me the exact same answer. Let me just like refresh this, see if it makes any difference. Okay. You're helpful, Asian bot. Okay. Always try to help the user with giving the right but concise answers. All right. All right. So fix this, update. Uh, tell tell me about Elon Musk. I'm sorry. So it keeps on getting the same thing. What this means is that the system and the custom prompt are not properly set in, meaning there's something that we are doing here which does not make sense. So what we can do is we can create another column. So we can create a new column, call it LM2, LM2, and just input, you have some text here. And so this is input, we need to make an output. So we delete column because we want the column to be output. So we output an LLM output, let's call it LLM2. So we will add column. And over here, we're not doing anything with settings, so just update it. And let's ask the same question. Tell me about Mark. So you see, AI1 is like nothing. AI2 is giving something, so we can just delete this whole column up. Sometimes AI will hallucinate, so you have to make sure that we keep that in mind. Anyway, so we can keep on creating these multiple columns and like do something from it. We can also, there's this toggle button here to have a simple chat user interface. So something like, um, how are you doing? Help me understand how biology works in ants, within ants in their ant society. I don't know. I'm just asking some random question. I fix my spellings and ants live in houses, and you can see some answers. So what the whole point of chat table is to create different chatbots using different configuration, different system prompts, different custom prompts for different use cases. For students here in this call, you can use this idea to create different styles of chatbots or different styles of Hello, hello. Am I am I audible? Give me a thumbs up if I'm audible. Uh, okay, I'm audible. Okay. Okay, so we can use this to create different chatbots for different use cases. Could be medical, could be educational, could be related to, personalized learning, could be psychology, etc., etc. So this is what we can do on chat table. We can also these chatbots open settings is also have RAG. We can enable RAG and connect it to a database. So it could be database of your past year papers. This could be database of your assignments. This could be any form of database. So we can have a chatbot where people can upload some of their files, and using this chatbot, we can try to talk more into it, try to understand more about the files that are being uploaded. And of course, this is how to use, so you can go through it on how you can use this entire user interface. Okay. Okay. So the re-ranker and K are other hyperparameters. This is a reference to um, how many chunks a document must go through. It's a little bit technical, but please stay with me. When we talk about embeddings, or when someone mentions doing RAG, when we feed in documents, whatever form these documents are, the AI will cut these documents into different pieces or different chunks, because sometimes it cannot digest the entire book as a whole. Imagine I give you a book, a really thick book, and you're asked to understand the book, like given book. Would you go and like try to understand like the whole thing at one go? Probably not. You would probably chunk the book into different subsections. So the section one talks about project topic A, topic B, topic C, and then ingest all that information likewise. AI works in a very similar way, and this chunking is called as the case is a reference to this chunking method. The more chunking we do, the more granular the information is. The less chunking we do, the more generic the information ingestion process looks like. The pros and cons include, if we the main pro is if you do a lot of chunking, you get accurate answers. However, it's computationally very expensive. Embeddings are not cheap. But if you do less chunking, the answers are generic, and we get more generic answers. So it's in industry, we always play around with this to get the right chunking needed for the use case we are doing. Some use cases chunking needs to be higher, some use cases chunking needs to be smaller. So these are the different things that can be done using a chatbot. Now knowledge table is just your knowledge table you can upload. So we go to like this top right, and you can select, you can create some table, let's call it like random to something. You can select an embedding model, and you can create, you can select ELM, and we can upload some documents. You can browse and you can upload some documents, some MOU, something. Let's say I upload this MOU that we are working on recently. It will essentially ingest it into different chunks, and then we can use it to do RAG later on. So you can see the file is complete. You can see you have title, you have embedding, you have text, etc., etc., uh, so on and so forth. So this is what we can do using knowledge table. But the most of the hard labor, the work is done within action table. Action tables are these Excel formatted sheets where we can create different use cases as I'm about to show you guys. So we again, top right, you see that there's this plus sign, plus button. Let's try to create something. Let's try to create a hazard report reporter report. report. So the first column has to be image input, image of incident. Then the names of columns doesn't really matter. You can call it whatever you would like, but it's good to name the column as to the function it's supposed to do, so that it's easier to like understand what's going on. The image is going to be input, like the column type is going to be input, and data type is going to be image. There are different kinds of data types you can have on Gemini base. Could be text, could be image, could be audio, could be document. For this one is image. Then we have the describe uh, the image. So column type would be LLM output. We also have Python output, meaning you can use Gemini base to write code for you and create code for you that you can use to create different use cases. So with the column type is LLM output, data type would be text, then possible hazards. Okay, again, column type is LLM output, data type is text, and we could virtually create further columns on different things. Maybe one column is for possible solution, one column is for reporting, one column is for Python output for like signaling. Or let's actually try to do that. Let's call it auto tick email signal email solution. Something like this. Email, something like this. LLM output, Python output, and data type is text. Okay. Once you are done, you click on create and you see a bunch of these columns. So let's try to input some image. I don't know what we can put. All right, let's try to input this image of some incident happening. Okay, you can see here we pull the image. The first LLM will describe the image, a group of children sitting on the ground with pigeon feeding. There are many different types of potential hazards in the environment. Results here. Now you can see here for this email, when I click on this column, I don't see anything. All I see is a Python code which says whatever the input is, you give a result, like just give some results here. But if I can modify this into something more interesting, it will create an automatic email. Imagine if the incident has some hazards. So imagine the first column. So maybe we type it here. So list down. All right, this one, I don't think we need to change anything because it's just describing the image. The possible hazards, maybe we change it to um, based on the image and your understanding, understanding, list down possible hazards, hazards from this image. Okay, something like this. All right. So let's pick another image. Image of hazard in workspace. Workspace. All right. So let's see what we get. These are all created real life. Okay. All right. Let's take this one. I don't know, this guy is like doing something. So let's just download this image. All right. So we can now upload this image here. Uh, okay. So you can see a man is working on a large metal pipe, possible hazards, falling objects, nothing here. Imagine if we can convert this code, Python code, into something else, which takes in the output from describe the image column and output from possible hazard column. And if, let's say, the possible hazard is dangerous, it would automatically send an email. So we can write a Python code to automatically send an email based on results. And you can create this code using Gemini, but I'm just showcasing you here just to let you know that this capability exists within Gemini base, and you can use it to, yeah, you can use it to Yeah, you can use it to like create some use cases for yourself. So you can keep on doing something like this. We can also let's try to create another action table where we do like a medical bot. Let's call it X-rays X-rays scanner. So again, the first is your X-ray image. Column type is input. Data type is image. Let's call it describe in details. Column type is LLM output. It's text, maybe possible practice. Okay. All right. Let's get some X-ray images. X-rays of acute fractures. Okay. So I'm gonna get some images. Let's see if so this is very obvious. Um, need something which is like not super obvious. Okay, this looks like something which is not super obvious. Maybe, oh yeah. So this looks like something that is not super obvious. Let's try to use this one. So we upload it here. Okay, so generate. The image is an X-ray of an ankle. Is it an ankle? Looks like an elbow. I don't know. This ankle showing the bones, the foot, and the lower leg. The image shows the tibia, joint between tibia and okay. Possible fracture fibula. I have no idea what this fibula means. Let's check it out. What is this fibula? Oh, okay. So there's some sort of fracture on your knees, but we can actually make it even more complex based on the image. Describe as a top a radiologist X-ray in details, not missing out any key information. Okay. So this, by the way, is called as prompting. There is a key term that you should look into. It's known as prompt engineering. All right. Prompt engineer. Prompt engineer, by the way, are very important. Just so that you know, I can showcase the importance of prompt engineering in AI. So I can maybe share with you. All right, this is a research paper, and it will showcase to you. It will showcase the importance of prompt engineering. So the increase in large little while is effective, depending on how users formulate in this study. We investigate the relationship between rapid engineering. Okay, collective databases with more context. Okay. So yeah, you can notice that there are different prompt engineering techniques. Got zero prompting, got few shot prompting, got chain of thought, instruction prompting, role prompting, different kinds of prompting, comparison of manual and automatic prompting techniques, so human control, different techniques, etc., etc. So this entire paper is written, and what's the conclusion from this paper? Let's see. Results. Okay. Okay. Let's see. I don't want the conclusion. The finding of this study converges on a central theme. Prompt engineering is critical factor in maximizing AI tool usage. What this author is trying to illustrate, trying to, like deduce from his or her work is that if we do the right prompting, you get the results in the right way, possible without losing tokens or with losing minimal tokens. And prompt engineering, by the way, is the next developing field within generative AI. And you can already see that there are a bunch of jobs on prompt engineering. I'll just show you like on my LinkedIn, so we can just try prompt engineer, engineer, engineering. All right, let's remove this one. All right, so search. Let's see what we get. Engineering. This. Okay. All right. Let's see what jobs we get. All right, go to jobs. Okay, so you can already see here you have software development engineer, LLM algorithm engineer. All whenever you see like LLM algorithm engineer, like anything like this means that they're looking for a prompt engineer. So they need someone who can do like good prompting fast. So what I'm doing here is prompt engineering, but the way that I'm doing this prompt engineering is actually really bad. So yeah, don't like try to have some interesting approaches. But anyway, let's click on update. We try to update it. And you can see by changing the prompt slightly, you see that there's much more, the verbosity increases. There's more details given. It's more professional. It behaves like a top radiologist. So this is known as prompt engineering. You can try different kinds of prompt engineering, come up with different kinds of solutions. Okay. So hopefully, I mean, I hope with these two use cases, you know how to use chat tables, you know how to use knowledge tables, you know how to use action tables. I'll try to show you more use cases done, and I'll explain what to do for your assignments. So this is a use case on web scraping. So user can import some URL. This is some Wikipedia URL. The first Python column, you can see here, it uses beautiful scoop and it will extract all the data from this Wikipedia page. And then you have an LLM column which summarizes this. You have a translation column which translate the summary into Malay. But you can actually do it in any other style way format. Let's say, for example, that this is too long, right? This is too long, like meaning this is scraping all the information from Wikipedia. You can actually copy paste this into Gemini or any other AI and ask it to rewrite the code to maybe make it something more specific. Maybe we are trying to extract only the comments from a given post. Maybe you are trying to extract only the name of the author from given post. We can try different things and try to work out different solutions from this called Wikipedia, like you can call it like web scraping. Okay. Another use case could be image OCR, right? So you have receipts. So I can put in my receipt. You have a JSON file of all the content within this receipt. What are the costs? What is the graph that looks? Let's try something else. Let me find some receipt on my, right. So let's just pick some random receipt up. So I'm picking this random receipt up. It will create a JSON file of, so it looks like a KFC order. Looks like a KFC order. So you can see like different things. This is the JSON. So this column only extracts JSON, like only extracts all the information, but puts it into a JSON format with like different keys and they're in a dictionary form with like different keys and uh what they're supposed to like. So you have like the name, type. So you can see here you're getting food process, cost, etc., etc. Another column is to detect the cost of any fresh food involved. Because this is KFC, there is no fresh food. And then we have another Python column that is using matplotlib, making a chart. So processed food, what is the cost? And drinks, what is the cost? You'll notice here, then you have like this USD, you have USD, and also you might notice that the USD is not accurate. So it's like 177 USD. Of course, this is not accurate. This is not accurate. I think the real cost should be somewhere around maybe like 40 or 50 ringgits, right? So, but the thing is, all of these can be fixed using prompt engineering. If we do proper prompt engineering, we are able to extract information more accurately and we are able to work from that information properly. So this is another use case where we can use receipts and we can create like some EDS from it. So I'll show you a bunch of other use cases. This is the same radiologist use case, but slightly different. So instead of using X-rays, you're using MRI scan. So you see like there's a much more, there's a detailed prompt. You have diagnosis, so on and so forth, more use cases. This is using cards. These are like business cards. So I upload images of business cards. It will extract like the email, the person, the company, email, etc. Imagine you are making a use case where industry players can simply like scan their cards or scan people's card. It will extract emails. It will automatically send an introductory email, introductory call to that person, like cold calling. So that is also possible over here. So let's look at more use cases. Um, okay, let me see. Let me try to show you guys uh, US. Okay, so this is another use case for verification. So you have these ICs or these passports. You can like country name, the name of the person, ID, issue date, so on and so forth. You might notice that all these use cases, the first principle, the first principles are for the first principles are these columns, right? So uh, at the foundational level, what we are doing is creating these columns, different rows, different columns, and configuring these columns to do different tasks, right? Some columns are extracting names, some are extracting countries, some are extracting ideas. When we have configured 4 or 5 columns and input something, whether that be image, that be text, that be audio, it will process all of that information the way it is designed, and eventually you can actually also export this as a CSV. So you can export all of this as a CSV, and you can do like some EDA from this CSV. So use case for students could be, imagine you have, so I'm gonna delete these columns which are like not necessary. So you have the country name, you got the name of the person, you got the ID, issue date, expiry date, date of birth, etc. Um, so you can actually use this to do EDA like machine learning. You might notice there's maybe some of your friends have already tried. There's a website called Kaggle, and on Kaggle you have a lot of data sets on different things, and people like do like bunch of machine learning stuff with these data set. So by using GMAI base, maybe you can create a data sets of different things within UM, or maybe a data set of different students within UM. Imagine you collect all the information of the students and make a data set from it. Imagine you are doing a survey. Of course, you can exclude confidential information. Maybe you can extract what faculty they are from, what is their financial background, like a lot of these like key information, and essentially create like a census from it for UM, and then maybe do something from all that data for your university, right? So this is another use case that you can work on. This is hazard detection. So you have images of hazard, you have like a description, you have possible hazards, you have possible solutions, right? Um, we can also do something with law. So these are law documents, decision, court decision, decision analysis, what is the background, what is the conviction, and then give everything in a JSON format, right? So I could show more and more use cases using GMAI base, but the key idea that you can maybe conclude from this is that we can use GMAI base to more or less create any projects possible. The way I think about GMAI base is very similar to human processes. How does a human process information? How does a human like do a certain task? Take today's online meeting that we are having. In order for you to be present at this in this meeting and in this class, you had to do series of subtasks, right? You have to become a UM student, number one. You have to wake up this morning and fresh up. You have to do like 3 or 4 like steps before you could join this call, sub steps. AI works in a very similar way. If we can create different columns with different configuration, different subtasks, then the final column will give you the right output you want. So today I briefly showed you today we briefly talked about how product creation is done in industries. We talked about how you can use GenAI base to create simple backends, create simple columns, configure them, and how we can like use them to like do different solutions. What we did not cover is how to make a front end. I'll show you how we can make a front end, but there is going to be beyond the scope of this class. But I'll just show you nonetheless, just so you know how to do it, right? So going back, sharing my screen again, we have our documentation over here. So within this documentation, you can essentially like keep going and like keep like exploring it. So you have Python documentation. How do we start chat table? How do we do knowledge table? JavaScript, OpenAI, TypeScript, etc., etc. So for those who are really interested, you can use this documentation and create a front end for your solution. But because you're already in like week 11 or week 12, I don't think that creating a front end is something that like it's going to I don't think you have enough time to create a front end. Maybe we can do it in the next semester, in the next class. Um, so yeah, so the assignment for so with this we conclude. By the way, I think you'll probably have to rewatch the video a few times because it's online and I went through it really quickly to make sure that it's not people are not held up. So you can obviously go back and watch it at your own pace and like figure out different things. But with that, what is the assignment for this week? We will detail you the assignment in Spectrum later on. But the key thing that I'm expecting from the students here is I would like to see you use GenAI base and create a simple idea of what your use case is gonna look like. um, Create a simple GenAI-based backend. So the action tables that I've showcased to you, create simple action tables on different use cases, and just write a simple like a document on how is this gonna impact the industry and what is your story look like. So if you can do like couple pages, it should be enough for your assignment. So with that, maybe I will can I previous MA project we recycle for different ideas and we say, yeah, you're sure. If you have done something with GMAI base previously, you can like recycle it. It should be okay. Should be okay. I believe some of you might have already done a few things with GMAI base. So with that, any other Q&A? We'll do some Q&A for like 5 minutes, and if nothing else, then I think we should be okay.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
So how can we access the recording?
I believe once the lecture is done, it should be available on your Teams.
So for three classes, we only have the second one have recording, right? Because the previous one, I don't think it has.
Yes, the previous lecture there was no recording because it was face to face, I believe. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yes. Yes. Any other questions?
Oh wait, hi sir. Can you
Yes.
repeat what are we supposed to do?
Okay, so given what we have done today, I need you guys to make a simple idea of a AI use case, AI project. Use GenAI base and create a simple backend using action tables. Okay. Take screenshots of those backend GenAI base table, put it into a simple Word doc, explain your use case, show how you're using GenAI base to solve it, and number three is how does this use case help solve problems within Malaysia? We can, yeah, we will post the task on Spectrum later on with details. Yes. Any other questions? Okay, seems like you guys are in Raya mode right now. So yeah, with that, I think we can conclude our class early today. I'll talk to your professor and we can upload some project for you on your Spectrum. So yeah, I hope you have a good day. And I don't know if doctor is present here right now. Uh,
Hi, yes, I am.
yes, I'll pass it back to you, professor.
Okay, so I think Mr. Usman has finished his session, I believe. For those who joined in today's session, thank you so much. It is recorded, but we will take note on the attendees. So we will note lah who came to the session and who didn't. And I think there are some students for other courses as well joining us. Thank you so much for your participation. I believe the session by Mr. Osman ended here. But Osman, did you give them the assignment for today's
I
session?
I've already briefed them briefly. I'll explain again. So the task is simple because you only have a few weeks remaining, right? So
Mhm.
create an idea of a use case that is worth solving in Malaysia using AI, number one. Use GenAI-based action tables. I've showed you use cases from different sectors. So try to rewatch the
Right.
video again and recreate a use case, recreate using GenAI-based how you would go about solving this use case. And number three, put all of this into a simple Word document using and also screenshots from GenAI-based and just like explain how does this help solve problem within Malaysia. The goal for this assignment is to make students think about problems that we are facing every day and try to like possibly come up with some solutions.
All right, sure. Um, okay, so perhaps I think can we take a screenshot for this session? Usman, can you open your camera again? For those who want to open your camera, please open your camera. We'll take a screenshot. If you don't want, also can. No, never mind. We'll just take a quick screenshot then. Usman, look at the camera. All right. Okay. Okay, thank you so much, Usman, for delivering the session
Thank
today.
you. Thank
We
you.
will have one more, but it will be in week 14, Usman. You
Okay.
aware of that, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
we will have one more session with Mr. Usman, and I hope you will complete the reflections because it is a continuous assessment for WIA1006 the machine learning course. Students, please ensure that these elite reflections will be completed and submitted within the time that we allow you to submit and complete. All right. Any questions from the rest from the floor? If you are from other courses, this session is already recorded. It will be available once this call is ended. You can refer the link later on, I think, through the chat, and you can also check your chat at the left corner there in your MS Teams. Any other questions?
Will there be extra attendance apart from the general spectrum one?
I'm sorry.
Will there be extra attendance apart from the general spectrum one?
Abstracts?
Extra attendance for the session.
Extra attendance? No. You have to mark your own attendance. But right now, we are doing it via MS Teams, right? So I can also record and check the attendees for today's session. So yeah. Please, I know who came. I mean, like we have a total of 600, but half of you are here. It's okay, but we will take note lah. All right. Any other questions? Please don't forget to mark your attendance. I think you still can do it until 2 p.m. So those who didn't mark your attendance later on, please do not text me that you forgot to mark your own attendance. I'm not sure from the rest of the other courses. If right now is not your course session, perhaps you have to take the attendance during your course session. We are talking about the attendance for WIA 1006, WID 3006 machine learning students. Habibi Zoya, the speaker, requested to have the assignment on the Malaysian scope. So kindly complete based on the assigned requirement. I think I will post the instruction again in the spectrum also for the submissions of the link files. It's already uploaded in the spectrum. Please kindly refer the elite sessions sections. The first reflection is already given and you may submit until 21st June, which is the end of the week 14, and for the third reflections as well. Okay, any other question? If no, then I think we will end this session here. Thank you so much for your participation.
Dr. Nurul, we had a question for our ML project. Should we email you for that, or we can ask right now?
Maybe you can ask personally. I
Okay.
think because there are other students as well in this
Sure.
call.
Mhm.
Those who are in machine learning course, our session is supposed to be until 2 p.m. So if we end this session early, you still can also text me lah via chat right now. And but perhaps we should end this session here. You can chat me right now, and I will open the chat for questions on group project. Okay, if no more question, we just end it here. All right. We will see you again in the next session. Thank you. Bye bye. Happy Selamat Hari Raya Aidilfitri no Aidilfitri Aidil Adha to all to those who are celebrating, and happy holiday for the rest of you. We will meet you again next week. I think if you have more questions on the group project, please feel free to chat us, me, Dr. Saw, or Dr. Shah. Just for general FAQ, I think many of you asked us whether you have to use the auto escalator or not. Just want to highlight here, you don't have to. You can use any other tools. As I mentioned, this topic is a very general one. The data is synthetic and it's publicly available in two versions, extended and non-extended. It's up to your team how you want to design and solve and come up with something that you can showcase to us in 5-minute videos. So it's 40% marks for group project. Do not forget that. Please complete your group project and you still have time to do it. So please kindly complete. All right. Any other question can just please personal us we will move forward from there. Okay. All right. Thank you so much then. I hope to see you in the next session. Happy holidays. Thank you guys. Have a nice day.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you. Bye-bye.